What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my teeny tiny little automotive channel. Today I'm going to start installing this backup camera in the 95 Cobra. The original stereo in that car has already been swapped out. It's got a touchscreen doodad. You know, it's cool. It's got Apple CarPlay and all that junk. The only thing it's missing is a backup camera. I've kind of gotten so used to backup cameras in some of these other vehicles, and it's kind of weird not having it in this one. So I went on Amazon. I found this nifty little one, about 40 bucks or so, and I'm gonna mount that just above the license plate. It's pretty small. I only have to drill one small hole, but I want to pull the stereo out and double check the connection and then plug this in. Just make sure everything works first before I go running all these wires through the car, and then, you know, God forbid something happens and it doesn't work. So if you're looking to do kind of the same thing and add a backup camera to your Mustang, this is a 95 Cobra, SN body style, SN platform. The installation that I'm going to do should be exactly the same for all 94 through 2004, basically. Same car. Obviously, my stereo has already been swapped out. I'll take the time to redo this piece. It looks like it needs to be sanded and repainted. I don't know why that's peeling up like it is, but, you know, I'll redo it and make it pretty again. All you have to do is you have to take off your shift knob and then reach in, kind of pull up from the bottom here, and this whole little shift section, that little whole plastic piece with your boot and everything will lift up, and then just kind of guide it over your shift lever and then out. Then for the center piece, you're gonna reach down at the bottom and kind of pull it. Now mine was extremely tough on this side. For whatever reason, someone decided to glue one side of it. You won't have this problem. Hopefully you'll be able just to pop yours out, kind of ease it up, and then you'll be able to pull these top pins out. This is all it looks like. There's 2 pins on that side, 2 on that side, and then there's 2 little clips right up top. So just kind of take it out at an angle like this and then pull down and out, and this whole thing will come off. So all I've done basically is just turn the car to the accessory, so I've got power. Now my harness has this little wire. It says reverse in, and you can see when I take the jumper wire from the camera, and at some point I'll be able to reach this with one hand and push this in to make a connection. Boom, my camera turns on in the back. So it's just like facing up, looking at the top of the trunk, I think. Anyway, it works, so that's perfect. Now what I need to do is just kind of run the wires and tidy everything up. So let me show you real quick what I did in the back to get everything kind of just tested. All I did was use jumper wires. So this is my camera. This is the wire that goes all the way up to the stereo, and thankfully these Mustangs have these fold down back seats, so you can see all the way up to the console there. It makes it really easy. Take these panels off so you have access. So this connection is the wiring that's coming into your taillight assembly, and this is going to be on the driver's side. Now the wire that you need to hook to is going to be black and pink right there. That is your backup lights. So all I've done is just jumped from this red wire to that black and pink wire, and then I jumped the black and red wire just to a ground. That's all that is. This will live back here, you know, it'll be grounded, it'll be connected to that wire, and the rest of this will kind of just be neatly run with everything else up to the front. Obviously, when you're working on this stuff, it definitely helps to have a manual that will give you a wiring diagram. But if you're doing a simple install like this and you don't have access to a manual, the wires you're looking for are going to be that black and pink one that's on the taillight harness. That's your backup light. And then any place that you can find a ground back here. This is just, you know, a jumper wire hooked to a bolt for the body. Doesn't matter. As long as you have a good ground to the chassis, you're fine. So the camera is going to tell you to plug in that red wire up front to a trigger wire. My head unit had a specific wire that said reverse out, reverse in. I don't know. It says reverse. Anyway, that's where that wire is going to plug into, because as soon as I move the shifter into the reverse position, it triggers it and lets it know, hey, you can come on now. Pretty cool. This is actually one of the easier ones I've ever installed. So I'll hook up this red wire to this purple and black wire. No, purple and white. There it is. Reverse in. That's what's on the back of my head unit. And then tidy everything up, and then we'll get to the back and figure out a spot to drill. So I'm not exactly excited that I have to drill into the body panel, but where the camera's going to be mounted, you kind of have to get down to look up at it to see it. So it should be, you know, a fairly clean install. The trickiest part is going to be getting the stud on the back side of that camera inside that hole, but getting the nut on top of that stud. There's not a lot of room to stick a wrench in there. I may just get lucky. I think I found a little passage off to the side. I may not get lucky, and I may have to fight with it quite a bit. Fingers crossed that it goes a little simple. I mean, I could use a win now, right? Especially after all that headache with the Ferrari the other day. I mean, come on, give me a win. Oh man, look at that, I already screwed up. I went and attached my power wire to my reverse, and I haven't even like run this wire under any of the panels and hit it anywhere yet. So that's coming back apart. Pro tip: if you remove the back seat, you can sneak your wire up underneath here, and it will come out right back over here, right back over there. And that way you don't have to make any holes or cut anything, or you don't even have to remove this plastic piece. You just snake it down, find it under here, reach your hand up, grab it, and then what I did was I just took it underneath this panel, up and over, underneath here, and then it's underneath this one all the way down, up in front of the kick panel, and it comes up to here, cuts across the back over here, and then it just pops out right there, and voila. All right, so my wire comes from down underneath the back seat, it comes up over here, and then I just kind of ran along this harness, just stuffed that extra stuff in a zip tie and then tucked it up underneath there. And this is where it goes up, and it's gonna come out right here and then go up to the trunk area to meet up with the actual camera. And then the power wire comes down and it follows this loom all the way around to right there. And that's where my power is going into the backup wire. And then I've got my ground. I just went to this little doodad right here. So I just put an extra nut on here to crush that wire. I put an end on it and then slipped it over this, and now it's crushed between these two nuts. So it makes a good ground. And that's it. Pretty easy peasy. When I pulled the back seat out, found some interesting stuff. There's a receipt for Home Depot from, looks like the year 2000, March of 2000. Surgical glove, 20 cents, push pin, and this is like that little proof print you get when you have your pictures developed. That's old school before digital. This is back in, oh wow, August of '96. I've got power to it. Now I'm going to shift into reverse. Yay! I got a backup camera. Now it's not mounted, it's just kind of hanging back there, but I just want to make sure that everything was wired correctly and it was going to turn on, and it is correct now. Yes, that is a skeleton sitting in my car because that's what I do for October. I put skeletons in the passenger seats of my cars. I'm just goofy like that, and it gets a reaction out of people. So this is what my camera looks like, and you can actually mount it a couple different ways, but this is how I'm going to mount mine. And the idea is to mount it pretty much like dead center between the two bulbs for the license plate light, so that it kind of, you know, it's going to sit just like that. It'll give me a good view, but it should blend in really well, I hope. No turning back now. So it's basically like a lot of fiberglass, and then you hit a tiny bit of sheet metal. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Just use a 5/16 bit and go slow. All right, it's kind of tough to see, but I was able to get, let me see if I can get a light in here. You can almost see the wire. It's really tough to see. I apologize. I'm trying the best I can to get some sort of a camera-ish angle. All right, there it is, poked through, and you can see there's not a lot of room to try to get that nut on there, so you got to fish the wire up so that the nut will drop on top, and then you can kind of start to screw it on there and get threads going. Once you've done that, it's kind of a fight between, you know, going in this little hole, and this one over here, somewhere over here, right there, with a wrench. Once you're able to get the nut started, just try to get your fingers in there the best you can. It's really tight. Try to get it as finger tight as you can with as many threads, and then take your wrench and kind of work between the 3 access points that you'll have. It's slow going. You're going to get, you know, maybe an 1/8 to maybe a 1/4 of a turn, if that. So just keep after it. And what I did was I started with a 13 millimeter, and then I switched to a 1/2 inch that I had modified a long time ago, but I didn't really want this end. I wanted this. And I just took a grinder and cut a little slit in it. That way I could get it over the wire and get a little bit more bite on it, you know, and then kind of work my way. So it seems to have worked. I'm gonna put a little goop over the top of the threads that are showing, just to keep the nut from backing off. I don't think it will. It's pretty tight now, so I'm happy with it, but just as a precaution. There it is. That is how it is going to live on the car. I think it's pretty slick. I mean, it should give me a really good view. So you can see I kind of tucked it back just a little bit, tucked it back in there, just to keep rainwater from hitting it the best that I can. I'm sure it's gonna get a little bit, but hopefully that'll minimize it. And then now that the wires are all run, they just, I kind of took them and followed this wiring harness all the way down, and then it comes down through here and then over, and then that's where the camera plugs in. Freaking mosquitoes are killing me. So the last thing I got to do is just clean up that bezel and get that repainted and put back in the car. Again, 43 bucks from Amazon, shipped to my door. Pretty good deal. I'm very happy with it. So you'll notice it's gotten a little bit darker since I started, and that's because I've been taking quite a bit of time to do this. I wanted the install to look factory. I didn't want wires showing or wires looking out of place. So, you know, I took a lot of extra time with this install. Do what you will. I think if you do take the extra time, it'll pay off in the end and you'll be a whole lot happier. I'll throw up a picture of the model camera that I got, and you can see, you know, check it out on Amazon. If it's what you want to put in your car, great. You may end up going with one of the ones that just goes over the top bolts of the license plate. Those are great too. I like the look of this one and the way that it installs, and that's going to do it for this one. I'm getting eaten up by these mosquitoes, so I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for watching. Stay hungry, stay foolish.